सिस्टम दैट मींस ऑल द फोर्सेस आर पासिंग थ्रू वन सिंगल पॉइंट. सो व्हाट्स द फर्स्ट स्टेप? मेरे क्लास वाले अच्छे से जवाब देंगे इसको.
टेढ़े फोर्सेस को सीधा करना.
इंग्लिश में लिखा है, हिंदी में बताओ.
टेढ़े फोर्सेस को सीधा करना.
टेढ़े लोगों को सीधा करना. सो रिजॉल्व द इंक्लाइंड फोर्स दैट मींस ऑल द फोर्स व्हिच आर इंक्लाइंड वी हैव टू रिजॉल्व इट. सो फॉर रेजोल्यूशन अगेन आई गिव यू द हिंट. अगर एंगल x से दिया है तो हॉरिजॉन्टल cos रहेगा, वर्टिकल sin रहेगा. डायरेक्टली लिख के दे दिया. इफ एंगल इज विद रिस्पेक्ट टू y एक्सिस, हॉरिजॉन्टल कंपोनेंट विल बी sin, वर्टिकल कंपोनेंट विल बी cos. फिर उसके अंदर बहुत सारे पार्ट्स है. पार्ट ए इज इफ रिजल्टेंट इज रिक्वायर्ड. अगर रिजल्टेंट फाइंड करने बोला है तो यू विल यूज द फार्मूला r is equal to summation of x square plus summation of fy square. And because force is a vector quantity, it has magnitude as well as direction. तो डायरेक्शन हमको मिलेगा थीटा is equal to tan inverse of fy by fx. And in this you have to remember this part. Don't use negative sign in fx or fy while finding out theta. Okay. And then finally, depending on sign of fx and fy, you will make the resultant in the respective quadrants. ये तो हो गया फर्स्ट पॉइंट जो आपको रिमेंबर करना है. अब सेकंड पॉइंट, अगर सपोज आपको दिया है रिजल्टेंट इज गिवन. पार्ट बी, रिजल्टेंट इज गिवन. रिजल्टेंट इज गिवन क्वेश्चन में दिया है रिजल्टेंट. उसके अंदर केस ए, रिजल्टेंट सब आपने पढ़ चुके हैं, सिर्फ डिवीजन है. रिजल्टेंट इज इन हॉरिजॉन्टल डायरेक्शन. Resultant is in horizontal direction. So if resultant is in horizontal direction, what I can write for summation of fx?
Summation of fx
जहां पर रिजल्टेंट दिया है वही जगह पर रिजल्टेंट आएगा. So r is summation of fx because resultant is in horizontal direction and summation of fy is equal to 0. पार्ट बी है. अगर सेकंड केस हम देखेंगे तो केस बी, रिजल्टेंट इज इन लेट अस से वर्टिकल डायरेक्शन. Vertical direction. So in this case I will write summation of fy is equal to r and summation of fx is equal to 0. किसी को डाउट?
No sir.
Case C. Case C means let us say resultant is 0. क्वेश्चन में देखिए रिजल्टेंट इज 0, मतलब ना तो हॉरिजॉन्टल है ना तो वर्टिकल. सो इट सिंपली
Summation of x equal to fy equals to 0.
अच्छा, एक और क्वेश्चन, अगेन ओरल क्वेश्चन. आई एम गिविंग यू रिजल्टेंट इज 0, दैट मींस fx 0 and fy 0. सो व्हाट कैन यू कमेंट?
Sir, there is no force acting. Force नहीं act कर
No force existing. No, that's a wrong interpretation. You can lose marks in that.
Sir,
करेक्ट. फोर्सेस तो है, देखो आपका जो आंसर है. हां, मैं अभी आपको काउंटर करूंगा. देखो ये बॉडी पे फोर्स है 20 न्यूटन का, करेक्ट, और ये भी फोर्स है 20 न्यूटन का. तो आप ये नहीं बोल सकते दैट देयर इज नो फोर्सेस एक्टिंग ऑन द बॉडी. फोर्सेस तो है बट उसका अलजेब्रिक सम 0 प्लस 20 माइनस 20 विल गिव यू 0. तो एग्जाम में मैं बताता हूं, एग्जाम में आप लोग समझ के स्टेटमेंट बोलने का. तुम्हारे
सिस्टम इज इन इक्विलिब्रियम ना सर इसका.
Yes, the system will be in equilibrium. The answer will be as fx 0, fy 0, the body is stationary, and because the body is stationary, you can tell the system is in equilibrium. This should be your answer.
Okay sir.
Okay. Now D part. Part D, let us say resultant is inclined. Okay, resultant is inclined at angle theta. तो यहाँ पर क्या हो जाएगा? Summation of fx is equal to r cos theta. rx is equal to fx equal to rx cos theta, and summation of fy will be is equal to ry, or it can be written as r sin theta. Correct?
Yes sir.
Yes sir.
So only this you have to keep in mind for solving any problem of concurrent force system. Okay, so let us.
UT2 में आएगा ना?
UT2, yes, it's a part of UT2. Okay. So here again I have taken the example from December 2020 exam for 5 marks. Find the resultant of given force system. Before going ahead, what is the first step? तो कितने लोग टेढ़े हैं यहाँ पर?
दो
फोर्सेस टेढ़े हैं, तो दो लोग को सीधा कर दो. So to make them align with x and y axis, what we do resolution of force. तो देखो मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पर. Okay, I will make it here. This is like this and this is like this. हाँ बोलो. So we were discussing how to resolve a force. तो फोर्स देखना कहाँ जा रहा है. फोर्स जा रहा है ऊपर की तरफ और लेफ्ट साइड में. तो मेरा एक कंपोनेंट एक डायरेक्शन जाएगा लेफ्ट में, एक डायरेक्शन जाएगा ऊपर. ओके, नाउ एंगल हमको दिया है दैट दिस एंगल विद रिस्पेक्ट टू x is 30. तो जो कंपोनेंट एंगल को टच रहेगा दैट विल बी cos. सो दिस विल बी 50 cos 30 and this will be 50 sin 30. Okay. Now if I look at this force, ये वाला जो 100 न्यूटन का है, I will make it here separately. Let us say here it's 100 न्यूटन force. डायरेक्शन देखो कहाँ जा रहा है. It is going down and left. तो एक जाएगा लेफ्ट में, एक जाएगा डाउन. These are the components. Now the angle आप जस्ट ऑब्जर्व करो विद रिस्पेक्ट टू कौन से एक्सिस आपका एंगल दिया है. तो यहाँ पर भी आप विद रिस्पेक्ट टू y20 बताओ. सेम एंगल चेंज नहीं करना. अगर ये 20 है तो ये क्या हो जाएगा 100 cos 20 100 sin 20. I hope there is no problem with this.
So तो 70 भी चलेगा ना?
हाँ, अगर आप 70 ये है उसकी जगह पे आप ये 70 लेके सॉल्व करना चाहते हैं, यू कैन डू इट. बट हमारी क्लास में हम लोग रिकमेंड नहीं किए थे. मैं बोला था जो एंगल दिया उसी से आगे बढ़ो. डोंट चेंज द एंगल्स. ओके, सो इट इज अप टू यू वेदर यू वांट टू चेंज इट एंड टेक इट फ्रॉम x एक्सिस, यू कैन डू इट, नो प्रॉब्लम.
बट सर हम 70 लेते हैं और तो वो की तरफ जाएगा और जो y वाला फोर्स है वो ऊपर होगा ना?
नहीं, डायरेक्शन सेम रहेगा. जस्ट ये चेंज हो जाएगा. ये हो जाएगा 100 cos 20 सॉरी cos 70 और ये हो जाएगा 100 sin 70. बस ये डिफरेंस होगा, बाकी सब सेम.
ओके सर.
डायरेक्शन चेंज नहीं होगा. डायरेक्शन नीचे की तरफ जाएगा और लेफ्ट नहीं जाएगा बिकॉज़ फोर्स इज गोइंग इन द थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट. चलो ये सब चीजें हो गई. उसके बाद हम क्या लिखते हैं? समेशन ऑफ fx ऐड ऑल द फोर्सेस इन x डायरेक्शन. चलो स्टार्ट करो. क्या क्या आएगा?
minus 100 sin 20
Okay,
minus
minus
50
-70 -50
minus 50 cos 30
minus
minus 70
100 sin
100
20
minus
sin
100
20
sin
या आप लोग cos 70
20
लेना चाहते हो वो भी ले सकते हैं. So yes, we have written all the
minus
effects.
minus 147.5 newtons.
Minus 147.5 Newton. Okay.
Newtons.
So this is summation of fx. Now next step I will write summation of fy. Add all the forces in y direction. तो y में तो एक ये ऊपर जा रहा है 50 sin 30. ठीक है.
minus 100
Minus
cos 20
100 cos 20. और
Cos
क्या है?
20 minus 50
50. बस ये होती है. So all the things are done. So just again use the calculator and tell me.
minus 118.96
Minus 118.96 Newton.
6
So
newtons.
we got fy, we got fx. Then I will write r is equal to root of fx square plus fy square. That will be minus of 147.5 square plus minus 118.96 square. So if I calculate and tell what comes
189.49 newtons.
189.49
49 newtons.
Okay, so is the problem complete?
No sir. Angle.
no sir angle निकालना है
हाँ, क्वेश्चन में बोला है रिजल्टेंट ऑफ फोर्स. अगर फोर्स है मतलब इट हैज मैग्नीट्यूड एज वेल एज डायरेक्शन. तो अंडरस्टूड है कि आपको थीटा भी निकालना है. बच्चे लोग बाद में क्या ऑब्जेक्ट करते हैं, सर रिजल्टेंट बोला मैंने आर निकाल के दिया ना. बाय रिजल्टेंट मींस मैग्नीट्यूड एज वेल एज डायरेक्शन. सो वी आल्सो नीड टू फाइंड आउट थीटा. सो थीटा वी हैव द फार्मूला tan इनवर्स ऑफ समेशन fy by summation of fx. And one thing which you have to remember while finding out the theta is what?
Negative sign.
Minus
Don't consider negative signs. Don't consider negative signs. So it will be 118.96 divided by 147.5. So what's the angle coming out to be?
38.80
38.80 degrees. Okay.
88 sir.
हमारा 02 आया तो चलेगा ना
हाँ
सर?
चल जाएगा. तुम लोग भी 18 बोल रहे हैं तो मैं 18 कर देता हूँ उसको. So this is 18. अब वो 20 आया बोल के उससे हमको फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. लास्ट में what we are expecting is we should get the answer in the diagram form. तो diagram form बहुत सिंपल है. देखो just make the axis.
Quadrant.
एक्सिस बना लिए, क्वाड्रेंट बना लिए. उसके बाद
Yes sir.
check the direction of fx and fy. fx नेगेटिव, fy भी नेगेटिव. That means which quadrant?
Fourth quadrant.
Fourth quadrant.
थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट. फोर्थ से होगा.
Third quadrant.
सर.
Yes, it will be
हाँ
third
सर,
quadrant.
third है.
तो मैंने क्या करूंगा यहाँ पर थर्ड क्वाड्रेंट में फोर्स बता दिया that this is third quadrant. r is equal to 189.49 and always you show angle with respect to x axis. So this is 38.18. This completes the solution. किसी को डाउट? पहले तो उसने बोला हेक्सागोन है तो मैं हेक्सागोन बना रहा हूँ. बनाऊं?
हाँ सर.
बना दिया. बराबर बना रहा हूँ ना, गलत तो नहीं कर रहा हूँ.
राइट है.
ये लो हेक्सागन बना दिया. क्या बोल रहा है? 5 forces of 20 Newton, 30 Newton, 40 Newton, 50 Newton, 60 Newton respectively at one of the angular point of regular hexagon towards other 5 points as shown. मतलब क्या बोल रहा है?
सभी फोर्सेस निकल लिए और
क्वेश्चन में एक्चुअली डायग्राम गिवन है तो मैं बना देता हूँ डायग्राम आपके लिए, फिर हम लोग चेक करते हैं. तो क्या बोल रहे हैं, कोई भी एक पॉइंट पकड़ो और इस पॉइंट से दूसरी जो 5 पॉइंट है मतलब पहली पॉइंट क्या है, यस और नो पहले मेरे को बताओ.
यस सर.
अगर मैंने पॉइंट फिक्स किया तो मेरी पहली पॉइंट ये होगी. तो ये वाला फोर्स उसने बोला है 20 न्यूटन. समझ में आ रहा है?
हाँ सर.
दूसरा उसने क्या बोला, अगर मैं उसको दूसरे पॉइंट से कनेक्ट करूं मतलब ये वाले पॉइंट से, तो दिस इज माय अनदर फोर्स दैट इज 30 न्यूटन. ठीक है.
यस सर.
ये थर्ड फोर्स या थर्ड पॉइंट मेरी ये है, इसको कनेक्ट करूंगा. सो दिस फोर्स इज नथिंग बट 40 न्यूटन. ये वाली पॉइंट से कनेक्ट करूंगा. सो दिस इज 50 न्यूटन और इस पॉइंट से कनेक्ट करूंगा मतलब यही लाइन से. सो दिस इज 60 न्यूटन.
यस सर.
हाँ सर.
हाँ
समझे.
वैसे डायग्राम ये क्वेश्चन में दिया हुआ है तो कोई यहाँ बोलो.
सर ये भी कॉन्करेंट का ही है ना फिर?
यस, दिस इज आल्सो प्रॉब्लम ऑफ कॉन्करेंट फोर्स सिस्टम.
तो आप जनरल का ले रही हो ना?
हाँ ले रहा था बट अभी क्वेश्चन ऐसा आ गया सामने तो क्या करूं.
ओके सर.
गलती से मिस्टेक हो गया. जनरल फोर्स हेडिंग में आ गया और अंदर कॉन्करेंट का मान लिया. ठीक है. जनरल का एक क्वेश्चन कर लेंगे अपन, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. जनरल का एक क्वेश्चन कर लेंगे बाद में. अच्छा तो अब मुझे बताओ एंगल क्या लोगे?
60 डिग्री.
अभी क्या मैंने टोटल
60 divided by
60 divided by 6 it will be 60 डिग्री.
60.
तो ये एंगल जो मेरा है वो कितना है? बोलो 60.
नहीं सर 60 नहीं है सर.
अभी मैंने हाँ यस
बाहर से है ना सर.
नहीं रहेगा सर.
दिस इज 60 डिग्री.
30 होगा.
इतना चिल्ला चिल्ला के बोला बाहर का एंगल 60.
सर वो 30 डिग्री.
हाँ चलो चेक करते हैं. अगर ये 60 है तो ये कितना होगा? 120.
120.
Now this side is equal to this side मतलब isosceles triangle. So this angle will come out to be 30 and this also angle will come out to be 30. सबको किसी को डाउट?
नो
नो
सर.
सर.
अगर ये एंगल 30 है तो ये एंगल भी कितना होगा?
30.
ये एंगल भी कितना होगा?
30.
ये एंगल भी कितना होगा? 30.
30.
बट हमको ये सब चिंदी चीजों की जरूरत है. अपने को क्या जरूरत है?
टोटल एंगल.
Angle with respect to x. Angle with respect to x. So I will make a diagram here with respect to x. तो पहला फोर्स तो यही रहेगा 20
Yes, sir.
न्यूटन का. ठीक है. फिर उसके बाद ये फोर्स है हमारा दिस वन 30 न्यूटन एट एन एंगल ऑफ 30 डिग्रीज. करेक्ट.
यस सर.
उसके बाद वी हैव दिस फोर्स ऑफ 40 न्यूटन और इसका एंगल कहाँ लेंगे? x से लेंगे तो 60 डिग्रीज. उसके बाद ये वाला फोर्स क्या हो जाएगा? एंगल 90 हो जाएगा.
90 हो जाएगा.
टोटल एंगल 90 हो जाएगा. ठीक है. उसके बाद वी हैव दिस फोर्स विद अस. अब मुझे मालूम है कि ये 30 है. 120 होगा.
120.
120.
30 होगा. कैसे 120? हाँ टोटल 120 अगर तुम लेफ्ट साइड से ले रहे हो तो. अगर मैं राइट साइड से ले लूं तो सिंपल हो जाएगा 60 डिग्री
60 हो जाएगा वो.
बस. So now you can easily resolve, yes or no? Now you can resolve it and just apply fx, fy movement. That's it. Let us move to the next question, which says determine the forces P and Q such that the resultant of given system or in the figure is zero. This was the important highlight of this question. As we are given with the resultant of a system is zero, I will first write the conclusion from this statement in the solution part as resultant is zero, I can write summation of fx is zero and summation of fy is also zero. This was the main deduction from the given statement. Now, before proceeding further, the first step we need to do is resolve the inclined forces. So, from the figure you can see there are two inclined forces there. So we will resolve it into x and y components, drawing one line parallel to y and one line parallel to x. The direction is force is going towards right side and top. So this will go right side, this will go on the top side. Angle, this is given as 60 degree. So this will become as 40 cos 60 and this will become 40 sin 60. Similarly, this is also an inclined force. So I will make the resolution by drawing one line parallel to x, one line parallel to y with the dimensions as the force is going down and right. This is going right side and this is going down. Angle is given with respect to x-axis. So here also I will write with respect to x-axis 20. So this will become q cos 20 and this will become q sin 20. So now once all the forces are got, we can go with the equation part. So let us say first I will write the equation for summation of fx. So summation of fx is equal to adding all the forces in x direction. So first is, let us say 40 cos 60 going right side, so positive. Then we have minus 30 going left side. Then we have plus q cos 20. So this we have completed writing all the forces in x direction. But now from the given data we know that fx is equal to 0. So I will put it here. So I will get 0 equal to 40 cos 60 minus 20 plus q cos 20. So on solving this entire equation, I will get, there is only one unknown here. So I will get the answer directly as q is equal to 10.64 meters. This is one of the answers. Now proceeding to the next equation, which is summation of Fy is equal to add all the forces in y direction. So we have the force as 40 sin 60, then we have plus 50 going upward, then we have minus 3 going downward, then again the q component of force, that is q cos 20 going downward, so it will be negative. Now, in this equation, we have two values with us. One is summation of Fy, which is given as 0 as per the condition given, and the value of Q as 10.64 we have just found out. So put the value of Q here and Fy as 0. I will get one equation as 0 equal to 40 sin 60 plus 50 minus P minus, in place of Q I will write 10.64 cos 20. So now if you observe, there is only one equation or there is one unknown in this equation. So we can use our calculators and find the value of P as 81.01 newtons. So this completes the question, in which it was asked that to determine the value of forces P and Q. So value of force P is 81.01 newton, whereas the value of force Q is 10.64 newtons. This completes the problem. Let us move to the next question, which says the top end of a pole is connected by three cables having tensions 500 Newton, 1500 Newton, and a guy wire AB as shown in the figure below. Determine tension in the cable AB if the resultant of concurrent force is vertical. This was the important deduction. So in solution, I will write first the given data as resultant is vertical. As resultant is vertical, I will write summation of fx should be 0 and summation of f1 should be r, because as resultant is in vertical direction, summation of forces in y direction should correspond to resultant. Now, before proceeding to the numerical side, we need to resolve all the forces. So here it is this force 1500 Newton. So if I resolve it, one can connect to x and one can connect to y. This force is going left and down, so this will go left and this will go down. Angle is given as 30 with respect to x. So here also I will add 30 with respect to x. So this will be 1500 cos 30. This will be 1500 sin 30. Regarding this, again I will resolve this. One line parallel to x, one line parallel to y. Now this force is going down and right side, so this will go right, this will go down. Angle we are given with respect to x as 20, so this with x will be 20 degrees. So this will be 500 cos 20, this will be 500 sin 20. Now regarding the third force, that is the force in cable. So we will assume the force that is mentioned in the cable as, let us say, PAB. Now this is also an inclined force, so this need to be resolved. So if I do the resolution, draw one line parallel to x, one line parallel to y. Now force is going down and left side, so this will go left, sorry, down and right side, so this will go right and this will go down. Now regarding angle, we don't have angle here of this force, but we do have the sides of a triangle. So by using these sides, we will first find out the angle here. So let us say if I want to find this angle theta, assuming that this angle is theta. So I have the opposite side of theta, I have the adjacent side of theta. So I will use the value as the trigonometric ratio of tan theta. So I will write, here I will write, let us say, from the figure, tan theta is equal to opposite, that is 9 upon adjacent, that is 12. So I get theta is equal to tan inverse of 9 upon 12. So on solving this, I should get answer for theta as 36.86 degrees. So once I got this theta is now with respect to y-axis. So here also I will write this is theta with respect to y-axis. So this will become PAB cos 36.86 and this will become PAB sin 36.86. So once all the forces are resolved, now we can go for writing the equation part. Now for the equation part, first I will write summation of fx is equal to adding all the forces in x direction. So we have one force going right side, that is 500 cos 20. Then one force going left side, that is 1500 cos 30. Then we have one force going right side plus PAB sin 36.86. Yes, we have considered all the forces. Now we have the answer for, by the given condition, that summation of fx should be 0. So we will substitute here 0 equal to 500 cos 20 minus 1500 cos 30 plus PAB sin 36.86. If you observe in this entire equation, the only unknown is TAB. So by using calculators, we will solve it and we should get answer for TAB as 1382.30 newtons. This is one of the answers, finding out tension in the cable AB. Maybe in the question it is asked to find out the resultant also, then we will also use an equation, that is summation of Fy, add all the forces in y direction. So I will write it is minus 500 sin 20 from the diagram I am writing all the forces in y direction, that is minus 1500 sine 30. Then we have minus PAB cos 36.86. Now from in this equation we have the value of PAB with us, so we substitute the PAB here. Also from the given condition we have that summation of Fy will be corresponding to R. So in place of Fy I will write R is equal to minus 500 sine 20, then minus 1500 sine 30 minus PAB in place of PAB I will substitute the value 1382.30 cos 36.86. So if you observe now, the only unknown is R. So calculating this value of R, you should get answer as minus of 2027 newtons. So as we are getting R as negative, we will write final answer as that for R is equal to 2027 newtons, and we will make an arrow downward in the bracket, which assumes or which means that R is acting in negative direction. So this completes the question. I again repeat, in this question as the given, the only asked parameter in this question was the tension in cable AB, which we have completed at this particular part. But if the resultant is also asked, then you should proceed with the next part, else you should leave the question here itself. Thank you. Ahead to the parallel force system. And what does the parallel force system says? If you want to find out resultant, just add or subtract. Just add or subtract the forces. अगर forces सब x में है तो r will be summation of fx. अगर सब forces fy में है तो that will be summation of fy. And if you want to locate the resultant, we need to use Varignon's theorem. And can someone repeat Varignon's theorem for me?
Varignon's theorem is the summation of moment of all forces at a point is equals to the summation of is equals to the moment of resultant at that point.
Correct. So that is also an oral question. That the sum of moment of all forces about a point is equal to moment of resultant about the same point. That is nothing but the Varignon's theorem, and that is used to find out position or location of resultant only. Okay, next step. The notes or the promises which you have to make in this particular topic is this one. If it is asked in the question to replace by single force, that means the resultant. Question में अगर बोला है कि replace it by single force, that itself means the indirectly to find out the resultant. Second thing, while taking the moment at any point, this is the most important thing. Moment is force multiplied by which distance?
Perpendicular distance.
Let me highlight that. बहुत important चीज, अगर ये आपने गलत कर दी तो आपका sum wrong हो जाएगा. So that is the most important thing. Force into the perpendicular distance. अब perpendicular बहुत ज्यादा हाई इंग्लिश हो गया, समझ में आता नहीं अपने को. तो नीचे क्या लिखा है देखो. That is if the force is in horizontal direction. अगर फोर्स हॉरिजॉन्टल है टेक वर्टिकल डिस्टेंस, इफ फोर्स इज वर्टिकल टेक हॉरिजॉन्टल डिस्टेंस. ये हिंदी में, ठीक है, लिखा इंग्लिश में, बस समझो हिंदी में. चलो नेक्स्ट, थर्ड पॉइंट, अगेन इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट व्हिच मोस्ट ऑफ यू हैव मेड द मिस्टेक इन द असाइनमेंट पार्ट. नहीं, ये वाली पॉइंट वो नहीं है, ठीक है, वो मैं आगे डिस्कस करता हूं. Also note that if there is an external couple or moment acting, you have to directly add or subtract the moment equation as it is as per the sign convention. Don't multiply it with the distance again. What does it mean? For example, अगर यहाँ पर आपको ऐसा couple दिया है, a couple of let us say 20 Newton meter is acting, and you are taking moment about point A, so you have to take this couple into consideration as it is without multiplying with the distance. Distance से multiply नहीं करना है. अच्छा, एक और क्वेश्चन है मेरा. Again, let us say it can be an oral question also. Let us say if I am taking moment about point A and there is a couple here also of let us say 30 Newton meter. Will I consider this 30 Newton meter in our calculation of moment? Yes or no?
No, sir. It will be 0. Yes, sir.
No, sir.
No, sir.
Consider करेंगे.
देखो, उसने बोला ये ओरल का क्वेश्चन है. मैक्सिमम लोग जब मैंने क्वेश्चन पूछा था, बहुत से लोग ने बोल दिए थे नो. नो क्यों? बिकॉज यू दिमाग में आपके क्या है कि अगर ये फोर्स, ये पॉइंट है, इस मूवमेंट से इस पॉइंट से अगर फोर्सेस पास होते हैं तो मूवमेंट जीरो होता है. किसका मूवमेंट जीरो होता है? फोर्सेस का मूवमेंट जीरो होता है, नॉट फॉर द कपल. कपल का क्या है? एक प्रॉपर्टी है, कपल विद अ फ्री वेक्टर कैन बी ट्रांसफर्ड एनीवेयर ऑन द बॉडी. याद है फिफ्थ पॉइंट?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
फ्री वेक्टर कैन बी ट्रांसफर्ड एनीवेयर ऑन द बॉडी. तो मैं उसको ए पे हटा के यहाँ भी बता सकता हूं ना, इट इज हियर.
But same direction or same magnitude?
डायरेक्शन मैग्नीट्यूड का सेम रहेगा. तो दैट्स व्हाई इट हैज टू बी टेकन इन द मोमेंट कैलकुलेशन, जो बहुत से लोग छोड़ देते और ओरल में भी फंस जाते, बोलते कि नहीं आएगा. ठीक है, एग्जाम में समझ जाता है तुम्हारा कॉन्सेप्ट कितना क्लियर है. ओके, सो दिस इज द थिंग व्हिच यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड. और एक और चीज जो मुझे बताना था वो ये थी कि अगर क्वेश्चन में बोला है रिप्लेस इट बाय अ सिंगल कपल एंड फोर्स एट पॉइंट ए, सो डोंट यूज वेरिग्नॉस थ्योरम. बहुत से लोग ने अराउंड आउट ऑफ 63 ओनली 2 स्टूडेंट्स हैव सॉल्वड करेक्टली इन द असाइनमेंट. सभी लोग ने वेरिग्नॉस थ्योरम लगाया. Verignos theorem will only be used when it is asked to find out resultant and location of position. The position or location of resultant, that's it. अगर ये दो वर्ड आपको क्वेश्चन में नहीं दिख रहे, you will not use Verignos theorem. Understood?
Let us move to the next question. It says, find the resultant of a parallel force system shown in figure and locate the same with respect to point C. Okay. So as it is asked to find out resultant, we have only one option with us. That is one formula, R is equal to root of fx square plus fy square. So if I just write here to explain, R is equal to square root of summation fx square plus summation fy square. But if you observe here, it is a parallel force system. There is no force here in x direction. So if I write fx equal to 0, this term will go off and I will remain with r is equal to square root of summation fy square. That is nothing but r is equal to summation of fy. That's it. We need to calculate summation of fy, which will be the resultant force. So I will write therefore r is equal to add all the forces in y direction. So from the figure, 15 going upside positive, then we have minus 60, then we have plus 10, and then we have minus 25. So once we calculate this, we should get answer as minus 60 Newton, which we can write as, which is equal to 60 Newton in downward direction. Now, once we got the value of R, we'll locate this in the main diagram. So because it is going downward, I will make resultant anywhere on the body, but the direction should be a downward force. So I will make a downward force and I will write this as R is equal to 60 Newton. This we need to locate in the main diagram. Now, the next thing it is asked is locate the same with respect to point C. Location of resultant is required to be found out from point C, and to find the location of resultant we use Verignos theorem, which says that summation of moment of all forces about point, that is C, is equal to moment of resultant about same point, that is C. This is nothing but a Verignos theorem. So starting with the left hand side part, the left hand side says that we need to find summation of moment of all forces about point C. So now come to the object, the main figure. We need to find out moment from this point of all forces. So starting with the first force, this force in accordance to C will be making a clockwise movement. So clockwise will be taken as negative. So it will be minus of 15 into distance from point C is 40. So it will be minus 15 into 40. Then this force 60 Newton, as it is passing through point C, the moment will be 0, so no need to write it. This force of 10 Newton makes an anti-clockwise movement. So it will be positive, value of force is 10 and distance from point C is 30. Then last one, this is also making a clockwise movement, so it will be minus of value of force is 25 into distance is 80 from point C. So when I calculate this, I will get summation of moments of all forces about C is equal to minus 2300 Newton, and if I assume that all distances given are in meters, so answer will be Newton meter. So this completes the left hand side. For right hand side, we need to find out the value of moment of resultant about same point C. Let us assume that this resultant is acting at a distance of d from point C. It is the perpendicular distance from point C. Now, taking moment of resultant from point C, if you observe, this R is making a clockwise movement. So it will be minus of R value is 60 into perpendicular distance we have assumed is d. So this is nothing but right hand side of Verignos theorem. And as per Verignos theorem, this both should be equal. So I will write therefore minus 2300 should be equal to minus 60 times d. Minus minus get cancelled. So I will get finally d is equal to 38.33 I have to mention this here in the final diagram that this D is nothing but 38.33 meters. This completes the solution. So once again I repeat, if the resultant location is asked, then only you apply Variance. Let us proceed to the next question, which says replace the given force system into two parallel components at B and D. Now read the question carefully again. It says that replace the forces at points B and D. They are not find, they are not telling us to find the resultant. They are telling us to replace this entire diagram with only two parallel forces. So if I go as per the question, what is required to ask is diagram is this, the given actual diagram, and this should be equivalent to only two forces at point A and B and D. So let us say I will assume that this force as FB and this force as FD. So we need to convert this entire diagram force system into only two forces at points B and D. That's it. So it's very simple. As these both are equivalent, the values should also be equivalent. So from the diagram, if I can write considering the solution part, as these both diagrams are similar, having the same net effect. So what I can do is I will equate all the vertical forces in diagram 1 with the vertical forces in diagram 2 because they are equivalent. So from diagram 1 we have the forces 60 is going upward, then minus 80, then minus 140, and then plus 30. These are the vertical forces in the diagram 1. This should be equal to the vertical forces in diagram 2, that is minus FB minus FD. So finally what I will get is, if I solve this equation, I will get FB plus FD is equal to 130. Let this be equation number 1 because we will not get the final answer here. But this equation I got by equating the forces in diagram 1 as well as diagram 2. Now similarly, as we equated the forces, now I will equate the moments. Because the body should be, because both the bodies are same, having the same effect, I can also equate the couples. So let us say I can also equate the moments. So let us say I am taking moment about point B. So if I go from the earlier diagram, that was the diagram of the given question, from movement of point B. So this force 60 is making a clockwise movement, so it will be minus of 60 into distance is 2. Then we have 80 force which is passing through point B itself, so the movement will be 0. Then we have this force of 140 making a clockwise movement, so again this will be negative 140 into distance is 2 again. Then we have this 30 Newton force which is making anti-clockwise movement with respect to point B. So it will be plus 30 into 4. These are the forces, these are the movement caused by forces. Then we have also couple given at point C, that is an anti-clockwise couple. So I have to add this coupling movement also. So it will be plus 60. So this we have the movements of all forces about point B from the diagram 1. Now this should be equal to movement of all forces in diagram B, that is second diagram, equivalent diagram. So if I take movement of B on this diagram, this force is passing through point B, movement will be 0. This force is making a clockwise movement, so it will be minus of FD into distance from point B will be 4 meters. 2 plus 2, that is 4. So into 4. Now if you observe, in this entire equation the only unknown is FD. So once you solve this, I will get the answer for FD as 55 newtons. And once we got FD answer, we have the equation with us. Put this value of FB here. So I will get FB plus 55 should be equal to 130. So I will get FB is equal to 130 minus 55, that is 75 newtons. So this completes the solution. We have to replace it by two vertical forces. So finally I will get answer as FB should be 75 Newton and FD should be 55 Newton. So this is how we replace this entire force diagram with the two parallel forces at B and D, keeping the net effect as same. Hope we have got the solution. Let us move to the next question, which says convert the given force system into a force and couple system at point A. Now here into a force means a single force and single force that is corresponding to the resultant. So by default we are required to find out what is the resultant of given force system and we need to replace it at point A along with the couple. So let us start with the solution part. As we need to find out resultant, so I will write, if I observe that on the right hand side all the forces are parallel to y-axis, so I will directly write R is equal to summation of Fy because there is no force in x direction here. So if I calculate this, I will get R is equal to summation of Fy. So it will be positive 60, then minus 80, then minus 130, and plus 50. So on solving this, I am getting the answer for R as 100 Newton. Minus 100 Newton, which I will write as 100 Newton in downward direction. Now important point. Most should not make the mistake here because it is given to replace it at point A, they start using Varignon's theorem. That is a wrong concept. Varignon's theorem will be used only when the location or position will be asked. Okay. Here we are not required to find out position of or location, but we are required to shift it at point A. We need to show the resultant at point A. So what you do is just find the moment about point A. That's it. No Varignon's theorem, just find a pure moment about point A. So if I find a moment at point A, so this force 60 Newton is passing through the same point, moment will be 0. This force with respect to point A will make a clockwise movement, so it will be minus of 80 into distance is 4. Then we have minus 130. This force making again a clockwise movement, so minus 130 into distance from point A is 6. Then we have this 50 Newton force with respect to A, it is making an anti-clockwise movement, so it will be positive. 50 into distance from point A will be 4 plus 2, 6 plus 3, 9. And then we have also a couple of 80 Newton meter anti-clockwise, so we have to add it to the moment. So once we solve this, we will get answer that moment about point A will be equal to 570 Newton meter. That is, sorry, minus 570, which I can write moment at A, that is couple at A will be 570 Newton meter. Negative means it will be a clockwise couple. So I will make it as clockwise. So in final answer, what we need to do is we need to make the same diagram here, and we need to show that the resultant, at point A. The force is 100 Newton along with a clockwise couple of 570 Newton. So this is the solution part in the diagram form. So just you can see that we have replaced this entire force system by one single force and a couple at point A. This completes the
जनरल फोर्स सिस्टम. नाउ जनरल फोर्स सिस्टम में क्या क्या आएगा, ठीक है, अब थोड़ा सा रिवीजन. कॉन्करेंट फोर्स सिस्टम में हम क्या क्या फाइंड करते थे, समेशन ऑफ एफएक्स, करेक्ट.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
उसके बाद समेशन ऑफ एफवाई, उसके बाद आर,
थीटा.
तो दिस वाज फॉर कॉन्करेंट फोर्स सिस्टम. उसके बाद हमने स्टार्ट किया पैरेलल फोर्स सिस्टम. पैरेलल फोर्स सिस्टम में क्या आएगा, समेशन ऑफ fx
Summation of
और
fx.
समेशन ऑफ fy,
Summation of f.
दोनों में से कोई एक रहेगा, ठीक है।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
उसके बाद r निकलेगा, उसके बाद क्या निकलेगा, d, दैट्स इट। इसमें थीटा आएगा क्या?
No.
No, sir.
बिकॉज हमको मालूम है अगर हमारे सब फोर्सेस वर्टिकल है तो हमारा रिजल्टेंट भी वर्टिकल रहेगा, थीटा निकालने की जरूरत नहीं है। फिर लास्ट फोर्स और लास्ट सिस्टम इज जनरल फोर्स सिस्टम। जनरल फोर्स सिस्टम इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ बोथ, तो इसके लिए सब कुछ करना है। तो समेशन ऑफ fx, समेशन ऑफ fy फाइंड होगा,
R,
फाइंड होगा,
theta, D.
ठीक है। इतना तो मिनिमम रिक्वायरमेंट है। बाद में क्वेश्चन में ये भी बोलता है फाइंड द रिजल्टेंट कट्स द बेस या फाइंड द रिजल्टेंट कट्स द वर्टिकल, तो आपको x और y भी फाइंड करना होगा इफ इट्स आस्क्ड इन द क्वेश्चन। अगर नहीं पूछा है तो हमारा सम यहीं पर खत्म हो जाएगा,
हाँ सर,
ठीक है।
triangle बन.
हाँ, वो ट्रायंगल बना के जो हम करते हैं। सर, तो फॉर द जनरल फोर्स सिस्टम अगेन आई हैव रिपीटेड द सेम थिंग्स, सो आई डोंट नीड टू रिपीट इट अगेन। जस्ट द मेन थिंग्स वर दिस व्हिच आई वांट टू कन्वे। क्या क्या आप लोग फाइंड करना चाहते हो, ठीक है। अरे डोंट फॉरगेट के ऊपर लिख दिया मैंने, ठीक है। तो उसको भी फॉरगेट मत करना जो डब्बे में।
So let us move to the next question, which says calculate the resultant. Calculate the resultant of a given force system and locate it with respect to point O. So two things here also, resultant and location. So for location we need to apply Varigon's theorem. So let us see if I make the structure here. Solution. As we require to find out resultant, first we need to calculate summation of fx. Then we will need to calculate summation of fy. And then once we got fx and fy, we will find out r with the formula summation of fx square plus summation of fy square. And once we got r, we can also find theta, which is equal to tan inverse of modulus summation fy upon summation fx. So this becomes the structure, and finally, once we want to find out d, we will apply Varigon's theorem. So starting with summation of fx and fy. Now before starting any problem of mechanics, first we need to resolve the forces in x and y components. So here you can see there are two inclined forces. One is 375 Newton and another is 300 Newton. So first I will resolve this into two components. So let us see going left side and top because of the force direction. So this will become 375 cos 40. This will become 375 sin 40. Similarly, this force going right side and up, so this will become 300 cos 50. This will become 300 sin 50. So once the things are resolved, now I can write the equation for fx and fy. So fx, adding all the forces in the right direction. So we will start with 300 cos 45 going right side, so positive. Sorry, it is cos 50. Cos 50, then we have minus 375 cos 40, then we have plus 600. These are the three forces which are there in x direction. So once we solve this, we get answer for fx is 505.56 newtons. This is summation of fx. Now similarly for fy, we add all the forces in y direction. So first we have 300 sin 50 which is going top upside, then we have the force of 400 Newton again going up, so it will be positive. Then we have plus 375 sin 40. So these are the only three forces in y direction. So once we solve this, I am getting answer as 870.85. 870.85 newtons. So once we got fx and fy, I can now write is equal to root of fx is 505.76 square plus fy is 870.85 square. So on solving this, I am getting answer for r as 1006.96 newtons. This is the value of resultant. For theta, I will write is equal to tan inverse of summation of fy, that is 870.85 divided by fx, so it is 505.76. So I am getting theta answer as 59.86 degrees. So now we have completed the first part of the question, that is calculate the resultant of the given force system. So resultant value, that is magnitude, is 1006.96 Newton. Direction is 59.86 degrees. Now we have to show this in the diagram. Now for diagram, what you observe is the direction or the value of fx we got as positive, fy also we got as positive, x also positive, y also positive. That means our resultant is in first quadrant. So what I will do is, anywhere on this diagram you make one resultant force whose direction will be in first quadrant. You can make this anywhere, but the direction should be in first quadrant. So let us say I will write it here. R is equal to 1006.96 Newton acting at an angle of 59.86 degrees. This completes the first part of the question. Now regarding second part, it is given to locate it with respect to point O, and we know that for location we need to apply Marino's theorem. So I will write summation of moments of all forces about point O should be equal to moment of resultant about point O. This is Marino's theorem. Now left hand side I have summation of moment of all forces about point O. Okay. Let us start taking moment of all forces about point O. So for point O, this force 375 cos 40 is passing through point O, moment will be 0. 375 sin 40 also passing through this point, moment will be 0. If you closely observe this 400 Newton, this is also passing from point O. The line of action is passing through point O, so moment will be 0 for this also. Also for this 600 Newton force. This 600 Newton force, if you see the line of action of this force, again it is passing through point O. So this moment also will be 0. So only force remaining for moment is this 2. So this is making a anti-clockwise movement, so it will be positive. So I will write 300 sin 50 into perpendicular distance. As the force is vertical, we need horizontal distance. So it to 1.5. This is the moment of 300 sin 50. Then if you observe this force 300 cos 50, this is making a clockwise movement. So it will be minus of 300 cos 50 into distance. Now distance, as the force is horizontal, we need perpendicular distance, that is vertical distance, which is given as 1.2. And then we have a couple given as clockwise couple of 450. So we write minus 450. So this completes the movement of all forces about point O, which I will get answer as minus of 336.68 Newton meters. This was left hand side. Now right hand side, summation of movement of resultant about point O is equal to, we need to take the moment of resultant. So if you see the resultant, it is making a anti-clockwise movement as compared to point O. So I will write that is 1006.96 into D. I will assume that D is a perpendicular distance. Now as per Marino's theorem, this both should be equal. So I will therefore write minus 336.68 should be equal to 1006.96 D. So therefore I will get D is equal to 0.33 meters, and I am getting it as negative. So this negative means the distance of this force which we have made is not on the right hand side, but it is on the left hand side of O. So I will just make it like this. Let us say this is point O, and I will make this resultant on left hand side of O, and this is the perpendicular distance D. In earlier case, in our main diagram, we had made R this side of O, right side. But as we got answer as negative, it means that it is on the another side. It is left hand side of O. So now this is R equal to 1006.96 and distance is 0.33. This completes the question. Let us move to the next question. Again, it's a similar kind of question. It is saying that calculate the resultant of the given force system and locate it with respect to point O. So as it is given to find out resultant, we have the same steps which to be followed, which is first I will find summation of fx, then I will find summation of fy, then I will find the value of r by using the formula root of summation fx square plus summation fy square. Then I will find the value of theta, which is tan inverse of modulus summation fy upon summation fx, and then I will find d. So starting with fx and fy. Before starting, we have to resolve the inclined forces. So here in the diagram, I can see there is only one inclined force, also of which angle is given to us. So if I just resolve this into two components, this will be 6 cos 38.66 and this will be 6 sin 38.66. All the forces are resolved. Now we can write the equation summation of fx, adding all the forces in x direction. So it will be 6 cos 38.66 minus 20. On solving it, I will get answer as minus 15.31 newtons. Similarly for Fy, adding all the forces in y direction, so I am getting 12 going upward is positive, then plus 6 sine 38.66. There are only two forces in y direction. On solving which I am getting the answer as 15.74 positive. So R I will get as square root of summation fx square. So this minus 15.31 square plus 15.74 square. And on solving this, I will get answer for R as 21.96 newtons. Similarly for theta, I am getting tan inverse of Fy, modulus of Fy, that is 15.74 upon modulus of Fx, so it will be positive 15.31, and I am getting answer as theta is equal to 45.79 degrees. So we completed the first part of the question, that is resultant magnitude is 21.96, direction is 45.79. Now we need to locate this in our main diagram. So for location, just observe here, fx answer we got negative, fy answer we got as positive, x negative and y positive. X negative and y positive gives you second quadrant. So what you do is, anywhere on this diagram, anywhere on your diagram, you make one resultant, but its direction should be in the second quadrant. So it will be somewhat like this. The force is going in second quadrant with value of R is equal to 21.96 acting at an angle of 45.79 degrees. So this completes the part 1 in all respects. Now we have to locate it also with respect to point O. So we need to apply Marigny's theorem. Marigny's theorem says that summation of movement of all forces about a point which is given as O in this case should be equal to movement of resultant about the same point, that is O. Okay, starting with the left hand side part, summation of movement of all forces about point O. Starting with point O movement. So this force is passing through point O, movement will be 0. This is also passing through point O, movement will be 0. This force is making a anti-clockwise movement, so it will be positive 20. As force is horizontal, distance should be vertical, so 20 into 2. Then this force again making a anti-clockwise movement, so it will be a plus again 12 into, as force is vertical, distance should be perpendicular, that is horizontal, so it is 3 meters. 12 into 3. So these are the movements of all forces. Now we have couples also given. So couple, this is a couple of anti-clockwise 35, so it will be positive 35. Then we have another couple of anti-clockwise of 15, so plus 15, and clockwise couple of 20, so minus 20. So on solving this, I will get answer for movement as 106 Newton positive. Now right hand side, movement of resultant about say point O. So resultant, if you see in this diagram, from point O, resultant is also making a anti-clockwise movement. So it will be positive R. Value of R is 21.96 into, we will assume that perpendicular distance is D from point O. So as per variable setup, this goal should be equal. So I will write therefore 106 should be equal to 21.96 D. So therefore I will get D is equal to 4.82 meters. This completes the solution. Now let us go to the next question, which says again similar type of question. Calculate the resultant of a given force system and locate it with respect to point of action. So this is an incomplete question. It is, let us say, we assume that located with respect to point A. Okay. So again, as it is given, we have to find out resultant. So solution will remain same. The process will remain same basically. So first I will find out summation of fx, then I will find out summation of fy, then we will find out resultant, and then we will find out theta. So for fx and fy, first we need to resolve all the forces into x and y direction. Here I observe that there is one force of 200 Newton which is inclined. So I will resolve it into two parts. It is going left, so it is going right and down. This component will go right side, this component will go towards down. Now regarding angle, angle is not given directly, but we are given with sides. So let us assume that this angle is alpha. So from diagram I will write alpha is equal to tan inverse of 3 by 4, opposite upon adjacent. So I will get alpha answer is 36.86 degrees. So once I got this alpha is 36.86, this is also 36.86. So here I will get 200 cos 36.86 and this will be 200 sin 36.86. Now starting with the fx part. So x is 100, right side positive, then we have plus 200 cos 36.86. There are only two forces in x direction. So on calculating this, I am getting answer as for fx 260.02 newtons. Now similarly for fy, add all the forces in y direction. So we have the first force as 80 going downward, so minus 80. Then we have another force going downward, minus 200 sine of 36.86. And then another force of 40 which is going upside, so it will be plus 40. There are only three forces in y direction. So calculating this, I am getting answer for this as minus of 159.94 newtons. So we got fx and fy, so I can now find out r as square root of summation fx square plus summation fy square, which will be equal to square root of 260.02 square plus minus 159.94 square. On solving which, I will get answer for resultant as 305.28 newtons. Now theta we have as tan inverse of modulus summation fy upon summation fx. So which will be equal to tan inverse of fy. Value of fy in modulus will be positive 159.94 divided by positive f of x, that is 206.02. On calculating which, I will get answer for theta is 31.60 degrees. Now, once we got the magnitude of r and direction of r, we will now locate this in our main diagram. Now for location, we need to see the values of fx and fy. So here we are getting fx as positive and fy as negative. X positive and y negative. That means it is in third quadrant. So what I will do is I will make a line anywhere on the diagram and I will say that this is the resultant going in third quadrant whose value is 305.28 newtons acting at an angle of, this is angle of 31.60 degrees. Now, as it is also required to locate it with respect to point A, we need to now take or apply Bernoulli's theorem about point A. So I will write summation of movement of all forces about point A should be equal to movement of resultant about same point A. For left hand side I will write movement of all forces about point A equal to. Now we have to take movement of all forces about point A, so we have to be careful. Now for point A, okay, let us start with this force 100 Newton. This is making a clockwise movement, so it will be positive 100 into distance. As the force is horizontal, we need vertical distance from point A, which is 200. So 200. Then let us say this force of 80 Newton with respect to point A, it is making a anti-clock movement. Okay, this 100 was making a clockwise movement, so this will be negative. Make the correction here. This will be negative here because it is making a clockwise movement. Then plus 80. As the force is vertical, distance should be horizontal. So horizontal distance from point A is 300. So P into 300. Then let us say this force 20 cos 36 with respect to point A is making anti-clockwise movement. So it will be positive again. So plus 200 cos 36.86 into, as force is horizontal, distance should be vertical. So vertical distance given is 200 for this force. Then next, this force 200 sin 36.86, this is also making a anti-clockwise movement with respect to point A, so we will get plus 200 sin 36.86 into, as force is vertical, we need horizontal distance. So horizontal distance from point A will be 300 plus 300, that is 600. And then we have this couple of clockwise couple of 40, so minus 40 will be added. So with this we have completed all the forces. Now one force is remaining, this one, this 40 Newton. This 40 Newton with respect to point A is making a anti-clockwise movement. So it will be plus 40 into distance will be 200. So this completes the movement of all forces about point. One more thing here, the mistake or the fundamental mistake which students make, I will also highlight that. If you observe the units, here it is given as Newton meter, and every rest of the other dimensions are in mm. So we need to convert this, which students don't do in the exam, for which they lose the marks. So here it will be not 40, it will be 40,000. Converting this thing into the Newton mm. This is the important part of this particular question. So once I calculate this, I will get therefore movement of all forces about point A equal to, I will get the answer for movement as 75987. 75987.56 Newton meters. Okay. Now right hand side. Right hand side said let's find movement of resultant about same point, it is A. So if I take movement of resultant about point A, this is making a clockwise movement, so it will be positive. So it will be negative, so minus of R, that is 305.28 into an assuming distance as D. So as per Bernoulli's theorem, this both should be equal, so I will get therefore 75987.56 should be equal to minus 305.28 D. So therefore I will get D is equal to minus of 248.9 mm, 248.9 mm, or I can write therefore d is equal to minus 0.248 meters. Now what this minus indicates? Minus indicates that resultant is not on the right side of A, but it is on the left side of it. What I will do is, I will make point A here and I will make the resultant on the left hand side. So this is R 305.28 and this is the distance B, which is 0.248 meters. This completes the problem. Thank you. Next question. It says that find the resultant of the force acting on a bell crank as shown. Also locate its position with respect to hinge B. Again, if you observe, it is asking us to find out resultant of a force. So resultant, whenever it is asked, we have only one procedure with us. First, we need to find out summation fx. Then we will find out summation fy. Then we will find out resultant with the formula root of summation fx square plus summation fy square, and then we will find out theta with the formula tan inverse of modulus summation fy upon summation fx. So proceeding further, but before that we can see that there is one force which is inclined here of 50 Newton and angle is also given. So once angle is given, it is quite simple. We will draw one line parallel to x and force is going down and right side. So this will go right side, this will go down. So this will be 50 cos 60, this will be 50 sin 60. Okay, starting with the solution part. Fx, add all the forces in x direction. So we have 150 cos 60 going right side positive, and one more force we have of 120 Newton acting at the top here. 120 Newton. So on adding this, I will get answer as Fx is equal to 145 Newtons. Then for Fy, add all the forces in y direction. So one y direction is minus 50 sin 60, then minus 100. There are only two forces in y direction. So on solving this, I am getting the answer as minus 143.30 Newton. So Fx is known, Fy is known, so I can find out R as root of 145 square plus minus 143.30 square. So I will get the answer as R as 203.86 newtons. Similarly for theta, I will get tan inverse of modulus Fy. So it will be positive 143.30 upon Fx, that is 145. So on solving which I am getting answer for theta is 44.66 degrees. So we got resultant magnitude, we got resultant direction. Now what we will do is, we will locate the same on the diagram. So for that, we are getting answer for Fx as positive, Fy as negative. X positive, Y negative, that means it is in third quadrant. So what I will do is, I will get the resultant anywhere here, let us say, but its direction will be on in the third quadrant. And I will get R is equal to 203.86 acting at an angle of 44.66 degrees. Okay. Now proceeding to the location, so which I will apply Vernier theorem. Movement of all forces about point B should be equal to movement of resultant about point B. Left hand side. Summation of movement of all forces about point B equal to. Okay, let us say I want to take moment of all forces about point B. So first force is this one. Let us say it is making anti-clockwise with respect to B. So it will be positive 50 sin 60 into, as force is vertical, we need horizontal distance from point B, which is 40. Then if you observe this force 50 cos 60, the line of action is passing through point B itself, so moment will be 0. Then this force is making a anti-clockwise movement, so it will be positive 100 into distance is 20. Now comes the mistake part, where the students make the mistake. regarding this force, 120 Newton. This is making a clockwise movement. So it will be first minus 120 into. Most of the students take distance as 40 and solve the problem. This becomes the wrong solution because the concept says that movement is force into perpendicular distance, and we know that if the force is horizontal, the perpendicular distance will be vertical. That means I need this distance from point B, this one, the vertical distance, this distance from point B. This is the distance we need. So let us say I need particles, let us say M. So in this triangle, if you apply cos theta, so if I write cos theta, I will write cos of 30 is equal to cos 30 is adjacent upon hypotenuse, so adjacent is M upon hypotenuse equal to us is 40. So I will get therefore M is equal to 40 cos 30 and 40 cos 30 we will get answer as 34.64. 34.64 centimeter. So this is the value which we need to substitute here. 34.64. So on solving it, I am getting answer for summation of movement of all forces as minus 424.75 Newton centimeter, because all the distance are in centimeter. Now regarding right hand side, movement of resultant about same point B. Now if you observe from point B, this R is making a anti-clockwise movement, so it will be positive. So I will get R, that is 203.86 into, I am assuming that perpendicular distance is D. Now as per Verino's theorem, both should be equal, therefore I will get minus 424.75 should be equal to 203.86 D. Therefore I will get, therefore D is equal to minus of 2.083 centimeters. Now, as we got answer is negative, that means the location of R is not on the left of B, but it is on the right of B. So what I will do is, I will make a point B here. Then I will say that resultant is on the right hand of B. So this is resultant 203.86 newtons at a distance of 2.083 centimeters. So this is on the right side of B. This completes the problem.